infinite renewable energy supply would be awesome.
Running against walls, that we collaborate across government, finance and businesses more.
Absolutely banana crazy because they just say, but why are we doing this?
We want it all, but we don't want to pay for it. We want it all, but we don't want to change our own behaviors.
What is it like to work in sustainability? This time I asked 12 sustainability managers about insights into their work.
What exactly is your role?
Director, Sustainability and Corporate Social Responsibility.
Corporate Sustainability Manager.
I'm responsible for change enablement, and this means really making sure that sustainability is embedded across the organization.
I'm head of sustainability.
3 roles. I'm leading a corporate sustainability department. I'm also an in-house lawyer with focusing on legal sustainability matters. And I also work as a sustainable mentor.
Director of Outreach and Engagement. I'm not that long in the job, therefore I have to think about it a little bit, but yes, I'm working for the UN Global Compact here in Germany.
I'm head of sustainability.
So my role is to start first steps in our company in direction of sustainability.
I work for an industry association and I'm responsible for all the sustainability matters that go along with transparency obligation.
I'm working as a sustainability manager.
I'm developing methodologies to measure and value societal impacts of corporate activities.
I am a sustainability consultant.
Which size and type is the organization you work for?
We have 750 employees.
The company works in the construction and building sector and is quite big. We have above 10,000 employees.
It's a corporate with around about 850 employees.
It's a media company and it has roughly 17,000 employees.
We are a group of a few companies located in Hamburg and we have about 75 employees.
Probably we have 650 employees across 5 European countries.
It's a non-profit organization and it's like 16 people in total.
If you had a magic wand that could solve one environmental problem, what would it be and why?
That we increase systemic thinking and that we look beyond borders and really make sure that we collaborate across government, finance and businesses more to make sure that all of the measures we do interconnect and make sense, holistically speaking.
It would be biodiversity because I believe that we are just one species among so many others and we depend on ecosystems that are intact to maintain a livable future for all of us.
That humans only have positive impacts on our planet.
Infinite renewable energy supply would be awesome because we really need decarbonization.
We have to be more effective in the circular economy.
If I would have a magic wand, I would get a lot of species back because I think we need to have this diversity in our environment.
What do you like most in your job? Actually, I love the fact that every day when I go back home and I look in the mirror, I can say, okay, I've done something that makes an impact and I can do my share to make this world a better place.
To reach out to people, like you're just doing now, talking to people, learning and finding out that everybody has the same challenge and one of the people in the room always has an idea how to solve it.
What do you like the least?
Well, it's always too slow to get the right achievements regarding the running time we have to solve global problems.
The data collection.
This role is sometimes very political because you have to collaborate with many different departments and functions, and I think that can be quite intense from time to time.
Long discussions, no decisions, and breaking it down to the minimum, absolute smallest thing where no impact happens at all.
Running against walls because people push back the topic, don't really want to think about it and don't really want to change anything.
I think something we struggle all with is like sometimes the complexity of systems that you need to change, and not all of that is like willing to change in order to like really get to sustainable growth and sustainable business.
What are some of the biggest sustainability challenges you have faced in your career?
to get sustainability implemented into our business model?
It's all a big challenge for me. I just work in this field for 2 years now, so everything is new and but on the other hand, interesting as well.
Since I'm with a pharmaceuticals and chemicals company, it's probably mostly on the environmental side. We do a lot on the social side, but we use a lot of products and components that are very difficult to replace. Yeah, so that is probably the most pressing challenge for us.
My biggest challenges always were getting leadership on board. If they're on board, that's a good thing, but sometimes it's the middle management that drives you absolutely banana crazy because they just say, but why are we doing this? And it just drives you absolutely nuts. And I've failed there many times getting these guys and girls on board to really bring change upon. Even if senior leadership wants it, they just sometimes they're really stubborn because they got their KPIs, they got their targets, and they just, why do I have to do that on top?
Yeah, maybe it's the Supply Chain Act?
Time. So one of the main difficulties is really like you actually never have enough time to go through a process like fully. You just need to make the most of like the time you have like in order to like get somewhere. It's always the biggest struggle that you would love to like actually develop it further, and then you just need to stop at some point.
Getting the people that they are aware of what they're doing and what there is as an impact they have.
How do you measure the success of sustainability initiatives?
We measure along a quite defined set of key performance indicators. And this is how we determine whether we have reached our goals.
That is actually a really good question, because I think we still do not have a proper system to measure the success of sustainability activities in the end. What is impact? How do we measure impact? I think we should really get into that, because in the end, for example, if we have a social volunteering event and we say, oh, but we've spent so many hours doing that and there were so many people involved, etc. In the end, that's numbers that do not say anything about the impact that you actually had, right? So you can have 100 people involved, and in the end, you had impact with one person. But how do you measure that? And usually, you see the impact of what you've done years and years later on, and you don't see the sudden effects of something. So it's very hard to measure.
I basically don't. Well, success, it always depends on the project, on the situation. I've worked as a sustainability manager, and I've measured the social return on invest of our work, and we've seen the major indicators where we can really hit large impacts. We've done that. Sometimes we've seen we actually have a huge negative impact. But the measurability, it helps massively to create awareness. Where's the big stuff? Where's the small stuff? Like in my last company, we had huge amounts of money on our accounts, unsustainable. The will was there, but it was unsustainable. But our most discussed topic was in the room about the paper cups. It is a huge problem with paper cups, but if you have that huge amount, we had €1 billion on our accounts, we could have had a massive impact, but we were caught up in these discussions. Where do we get our little paper cups from? And we only had 20 a day. Where you go, right?
I'm a real great fan of impact measurement, and despite all the reporting standards we have, it's really crucial to find the KPIs you need to measure targets you set yourself.
What's the most creative way you've seen a company reduce its environmental impact?
Especially in resource-intense companies where they went, we want to clean up our supply chain. I've worked in a large IT company, so I cleaned up lots of IT supply chains. And I saw companies who just said, okay, so dear supplier, could you make it more cleaner? Can it do these normal discussions? They made audits and checks and balances and development plans. Really nice, but they found out they can't make it better. So what they did, they went to the gold suppliers, they bought the entire gold they needed for their product and gave it to their preferred supplier and said, okay, we're giving you something clean now, you stay clean, and then we'll make the rest out of it cleaner. So they just basically leapfrogged the entire problem and tried to solve it that way. I said, That's smart. I mean, they reduced their costs as well, and probably 1 or 2 suppliers were not that happy about it. But it was the only way they could clean up that supply chain by jumping beyond it to the mines and saying, we want it clean, we want it the cleanest we can get, and really bring it then in our supply chain to clean it up. And I love that approach, and I would love to see it a bit more.
Years ago, it was one of our companies who was already climate neutral. They did it together with their employees, and for example, one measurement they had is when the workers come to their work in the morning and they enter the company with their card. Yeah, they had all the workers have to give the information. How did they come to the work? With the bicycle, with the train, public transport, with the car, or by foot? Because they wanted to know if there's a possibility to reduce these Scope 3 emissions of the employees coming to work.
I haven't seen one yet. Honestly, I think most companies do the same, or they try to do the same.
By actually turning it into a business, actually. So to provide products that actually enable customers to reduce their environmental footprint, so more looking at the downstream side of things.
What is your hot topic on sustainability right now?
I would say employee awareness.
My personal hot topic is business and human rights, because I believe business is for the people, and therefore it's key that companies act due diligently towards human rights, and they protect human rights, and that's why I specialize in this area and help companies and also people to protect human rights.
Climate.
ESG risk management at the moment.
Yeah, I have some basic topics like circular economy and climate emissions, but of course, I guess all the others are also tackling CSRD and taxonomy.
So biodiversity is definitely one, and the link to the reporting standards. It's something that probably a lot of companies currently facing and having as a big issue, to somehow bring that together, how you assess or report on things, but at the same time do not lose focus on doing things.
How would you rank the willingness to pay for sustainability?
Oh, I think that's very low ranked. So I think people want it, and people want to be sustainable as long as it doesn't affect themselves, their behavior that they have to change, and their own money. So things shouldn't cost anything, but they should be very, very effective. And I think that's the biggest problem. We want it all, but we don't want to pay for it. We want it all, but we don't want to change our own behaviors. We want it all, but we don't want to change the environment that we're in, because we enjoy where we are at the moment.
Very low. The business are profit driven, and there's an author who speaks totally out of my heart. You have to harvest the greed of the people. You have to, it sounds weird and it's evil, it's bad, but you have to make the business leaders understand there is a business case, or contribute to the business case. It can't be just fear and we don't do that and this and that. It's very soft. They understand numbers, they understand money. And if you don't have a business case, it's very hard to argument this. If you have a business case, they run in your door. People come, run and say, I want that as well. Can I have that as well? We have to, and as sustainability managers, we have to become business developers, market researchers, innovators inside the company to really drive impact through the business model, not against the business model. It means sometimes killing a project or a product, but sometimes it means creating 5 new ones.
It depends quite a lot. Everyone says they want to, most don't really act on their words, but it's increasing. Willingness is increasing.
So. I think it's getting better.
If you want to know how these 12 people started their career, you can watch this video.